In 1908, a young journalist named Napoleon Hill sat across from Andrew Carnegie, the richest man in the world. Carnegie offered him a 20-year mission with no pay. Interview 500 of the most successful people alive and extract the formula for wealth. Hill accepted. 20 years later, he published Think and Grow Rich, a book that has since sold over 100 million copies. What you are about to learn is not theory. It is a tested, proven philosophy distilled from the minds of Edison, Ford, Rockefeller, and Lincoln. Hill discovered one universal truth. Every person who achieved extraordinary success began with a single, burning desire. Not a wish, not a hope, but an obsession so intense it consumed their every thought. Principle 1. Desire, the starting point of all achievement. Napoleon Hill states clearly, desire is not wishing for something. Desire is a burning, consuming fire in the mind that refuses to accept failure as a possibility. Hill presents the story of Edwin C. Barnes. Barnes had no money, no connections, and no experience, but he had one advantage. He desired to work with Thomas Edison so intensely that he was willing to arrive at Edison's lab as a tramp and wait years for his opportunity. Barnes had no plan B. His desire had only one direction. This singular focus is what Hill identifies as the first and most critical element of success, the ability to burn every bridge behind you and commit completely to one definite chief aim. Hill outlines a 6-step method to transform desire into reality. Step 1. Fix in your mind the exact amount of money you desire. Not a lot of money, an exact figure. Vagueness is the enemy of manifestation. Step 2. Determine exactly what you intend to give in return for the money you desire. The universe does not respond to pure want, it responds to an exchange of value. What will you give? What service, product, or idea will you trade for wealth? Step 3. Establish a definite date by which you intend to possess this money. A goal without a deadline is a daydream. The mind requires a time boundary to activate urgency, and urgency activates the subconscious. Step 4. Create a definite plan and begin at once, whether you are ready or not. Hill is unambiguous. Action precedes readiness. Most people wait until they feel ready. The successful begin before they are ready and let action build their confidence. Step 5. Write your desire, the exchange, the deadline, and the plan in a clear, concise statement. Writing forces your brain to take your desire seriously. It transforms vague thought into concrete reality. Step 6. Read this written statement aloud twice daily, once before sleeping, once after waking. As you read it, feel and see yourself already in possession of the money. Emotion is the activating force of the subconscious mind. Principle 2. Faith. Visualization and belief in attainment. Faith, as Hill defines it, is not religious belief. Faith is a state of mind induced by auto-suggestion, a self-programmed certainty that your goal is already achieved. Hill explains that the subconscious mind does not distinguish between real experience and vividly imagined experience. When you visualize your success with enough emotion and repetition, the brain begins to treat it as fact and aligns your behavior accordingly. Faith is built through repetition. Every time you repeat your goal with emotional intensity, you are making a deposit into the bank of your subconscious. The more deposits you make, the stronger your faith becomes, until belief becomes expectation. Hill warns, just as faith can be cultivated through positive autosuggestion, negative thoughts and self-doubt are equally absorbed by the subconscious and equally believed. The mind is impartial. It manufactures whatever you plant. The practical method for building faith. Write a clear statement of your definite chief aim. Read it aloud with conviction morning and night. Allow yourself to feel the emotions associated with achievement. Do this every single day without exception. Principle 3. Autosuggestion, the medium between conscious and subconscious mind. Autosuggestion is any idea you repeatedly feed to yourself. It is the software by which you reprogram the hardware of your mind. Hill's key discovery: the subconscious only receives messages that are delivered with emotion. Mere repetition of words without feeling is ineffective. The emotional charge is what penetrates past the conscious filter and reaches the subconscious directly. Practical autosuggestion exercise. Close your eyes. Read your written goal statement. Then, and this is critical, project yourself mentally into a future scene where you have already achieved that goal. See it, hear it, feel it. Make it real in your mind first.
Hill cites the power of spoken affirmation. The voice activates hearing, which reinforces the idea through an additional sensory pathway. Speaking your goal aloud, especially in a quiet space with conviction, multiplies the depth of autosuggestion. Principle 4. Specialized knowledge, personal experience, and observation. General knowledge has no value for accumulating wealth. What matters is specialized knowledge, deep expertise applied to a specific, profitable purpose. Hill makes a critical distinction. You do not need to have the knowledge yourself. You need to know where to find it and how to organize it for action. Ford built a billion-dollar empire not because he knew everything, but because he knew who to ask. The most powerful lesson Hill delivers here. Henry Ford once sued a Chicago newspaper for calling him ignorant. Under cross-examination, lawyers bombarded him with questions he couldn't answer. Then Ford said, "I have a row of electric push buttons on my desk. By pushing one, I can summon experts in any field. Why should I clutter my mind with general knowledge when I have men who can supply it?" Specialized knowledge, once acquired, must be organized and put into a plan. Unorganized knowledge is of no value. A library of information without application is just paper. The goal is organized knowledge directed at a definite purpose. Principle 5. Imagination, the workshop of the mind. Hill identifies two forms of imagination. Synthetic imagination rearranges existing ideas, concepts, and plans into new combinations. Creative imagination generates entirely new ideas directly from infinite intelligence. Every great fortune begins as an idea held in someone's imagination. Carnegie's steel empire began as an imagined vision. Edison's light bulb began as an imagined concept. Imagination is not a luxury. It is the primary tool of wealth creation. Hill's directive: use imagination deliberately. When facing a problem, do not just react. Retreat to your mental workshop. Sit quietly. Define the problem. Visualize solutions. Allow your imagination to generate options your logical mind would never produce. Principle 6. Organized planning, crystallizing desire into action. No achievement is accidental. Every great result is the product of a meticulously organized plan executed with persistence. Without a plan, desire remains vapor. Hill instructs: form a mastermind alliance, a group of individuals whose knowledge, skills, and resources you can draw upon. No person achieves great success alone. The plan must include who will help you execute it. Hill identifies the major causes of failure and lists 30 reasons people fail. Among the most common: lack of a definite purpose, procrastination, lack of persistence, negative personality, and the inability to cooperate with others. Knowing these failure patterns makes you immune to them. Hill's most confrontational insights. Most people think they want success, but they only want the trappings of success, the money, the status, the comfort, without accepting the discipline, sacrifice, and sustained action that produces it. Principle 7. Decision, the mastery of procrastination. Hill analyzed 25,000 men and women who had experienced failure. Procrastination, the habit of putting off decisions, was near the top of the list in every case. Decisiveness is a defining trait of every successful person Hill studied. Hill observes successful people make decisions quickly and change them slowly, if at all. Unsuccessful people make decisions slowly, if at all, and change them quickly and often. Speed of decision correlates directly with confidence and conviction in one's purpose. The danger of seeking others' opinions before making decisions. Opinions are the cheapest commodities on earth. Most people who give advice are themselves unsuccessful in the areas they advise. Gather facts, trust your informed judgment, and decide. Hill points to Abraham Lincoln as a model of decisive leadership under impossible conditions. Lincoln made decisions that altered history during the most divided period in American history, not because he had certainty, but because indecision was the greater threat. Principle 8. Persistence, the sustained effort necessary to induce faith. Hill says persistence is to character what carbon is to steel. Without it, even extraordinary talent collapses under the first serious resistance. Hill identifies the 4 essential elements of persistence: a definite purpose backed by desire, a definite plan expressed in continuous action, a mind closed tightly against all negative and discouraging influences, and a friendly alliance with one or more persons who encourage you. Hill's most powerful persistence story: Thomas Edison failed over 10,000 times before successfully creating a working light bulb. When a reporter asked how it felt to fail 10,000 times, Edison replied, "I have not failed. I have successfully found 10,000 ways that won't work." Hill warns about the symptom of weak persistence. Most people give up at the first sign of resistance. The majority quit just before their breakthrough. The resistance you feel before success is not a signal to stop. It is the signal that you are close. The antidote to weak persistence, according to Hill, is a burning desire strong enough that the pain of not achieving it exceeds the pain of continuing. When your why is powerful enough, how takes care of itself. Principle 9. The mastermind, coordinating knowledge and effort. Hill defines the mastermind as coordination of knowledge and effort between 2 or more people who work toward a definite purpose in a spirit of harmony. This is not a study group. This is a power alliance. Hill identifies 2 dimensions of the mastermind: the economic dimension, sharing knowledge and skills; the psychic dimension. When 2 or more minds harmonize on a purpose, a third invisible mind is created, one that operates at a frequency no individual alone can access. Carnegie's secret: he surrounded himself with a mastermind group of over 50 men. He himself knew very little about the technical aspects of steel, but collectively, his alliance knew everything needed. The group was Carnegie's true source of power, not the steel. How to build your own mastermind. Identify 3 to 5 people whose skills complement yours. Create consistent, purposeful meetings. Ensure harmony. One negative, selfish member can destroy the entire psychic energy of the group. Quality over quantity, always. Principle 10. The mystery of sex transmutation. The most misunderstood chapter in the book. Hill is not discussing sexuality. He is discussing the highest frequency of human energy, creative drive, and how to redirect that energy from mere physical expression into creative and intellectual power. Hill observes that the most creative, productive, and wealthy individuals he studied were men and women who had learned to channel their highest emotional energies into their work, their art, their business, not dissipated. Intensity of emotion, properly directed, becomes extraordinary creative output. Hill notes that the majority of men who achieved great success after age 40 did so because they had learned, consciously or otherwise, to redirect their most powerful creative energies. Youth has energy but lacks direction. Maturity combines directed energy with accumulated wisdom. Principle 11. The subconscious mind, the connecting link. The subconscious mind is a vast filing system that works 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, processing information and searching for patterns relevant to your dominant thoughts and desires. Your subconscious receives and acts upon impulses from both the conscious mind and from an external source Hill calls infinite intelligence. Your job is to feed it the right dominant thoughts so that it searches for the right opportunities, solutions, and connections.
Hill identifies the 7 major positive emotions that most powerfully influence the subconscious: desire, faith, love, sex, enthusiasm, romance, hope. These are the fuels that must accompany your thoughts when you communicate with your subconscious. The 7 major negative emotions that the subconscious also accepts and which must be deliberately avoided: fear, jealousy, hatred, revenge, greed, superstition, anger. These emotions, when dominant, program the subconscious to seek failure, conflict, and limitation. Principle 12. The brain, a broadcasting and receiving station. Hill, writing decades before neuroscience confirmed it, intuited that the brain operates like a radio transmitter and receiver, capable of broadcasting thoughts and receiving them from other minds. The emotional intensity of your dominant thoughts determines the strength of your broadcast. High emotion creates high-frequency transmission. This is why passionate, emotionally charged people tend to attract opportunities, alliances, and resources that others with equal ability but less conviction do not. Principle 13. The sixth sense, the door to the temple of wisdom. Hill describes the sixth sense as the point at which the conscious and subconscious minds make contact with infinite intelligence. It manifests as hunches, intuitive flashes, creative inspirations, and gut feelings that consistently prove accurate. Hill notes that the sixth sense cannot be developed through intellectual study alone. It develops through mastery of the other 12 principles. When the other principles are consistently practiced, the sixth sense activates naturally as a byproduct of a highly tuned, disciplined mind. Chapter 14. How to outwit the 6 ghosts of fear. Hill identifies 6 basic fears that paralyze more human potential than any other force on earth: poverty, criticism, ill health, loss of love, old age, death. Every other fear is a variant of these 6. The fear of poverty, the most destructive of all fears. It paralyzes reason, destroys imagination, prevents initiative, and kills ambition. Hill's prescription: make a definite decision to accumulate wealth, create a plan, and take massive action immediately. Action is the antidote to the fear of poverty. The fear of criticism. This fear destroys the initiative and discourages the use of imagination. Most people do not pursue their greatest ideas because of what others might say. The antidote: develop absolute indifference to others' opinions and make their criticism irrelevant through your results. The fear of old age results in complex of inferiority and apologetic behavior. The antidote Hill prescribes is recognize that with age comes wisdom, experience, and the ability to make better decisions faster. Age is not decline. For a disciplined mind, it is accumulation.
The fear of death. Hill's response is philosophical and direct. You cannot do anything about death, so obsessing over it is pure waste of mental energy. The person who focuses on life, on creation, contribution, and growth has no mental space left for the fear of its end. Hill's ultimate synthesis. All 13 principles are interconnected. Desire feeds faith. Faith enables autosuggestion. Autosuggestion builds specialized knowledge. Knowledge powers imagination. Imagination creates plans. Decision executes plans. Persistence sustains action. Master mind accelerates everything. Hill's final warning. These principles are not passive philosophies to read and admire. They are active tools that must be applied with disciplined consistency. Reading this book without action is self-deception. The knowledge has no value until it is acted upon. The most important question Hill poses at the end. What is your definite chief aim? Not what you wish for, not what would be nice. What is the one burning, specific, measurable purpose that you will pursue with absolute persistence until you achieve it? Napoleon Hill's message across all 500 interviews and 20 years of research distills to one truth. Your mind is the only thing in the universe over which you have complete, exclusive control. Control your mind and you control your destiny. Hill draws a critical distinction. Wishing is passive. Desire is active. A wish says, I would like this. A desire says, I will have this. The moment you shift from wishing to demanding, from hoping to declaring, your subconscious begins to align with your declaration. Every great achievement in history was preceded by a period of obsessive thought about a specific outcome. The Wright brothers were obsessed with flight long before the airplane existed. Obsession is not a disorder, it is the operating system of achievement. Hill's foundational claim, whatever the mind of man can conceive and believe, it can achieve. This is not a motivational slogan, it is an observed law of how minds work when properly directed. Conceive precisely, believe completely, then act relentlessly. Hill identifies love and faith as the two most powerful positive emotions. When these two are combined and directed towards a definite purpose, they create an almost irresistible magnetic force. This is why people who love what they do achieve far more than those who merely work for reward. To cultivate faith, Hill recommends this. Act as if you already have what you desire. Walk, speak, and think from a place of already having it. The mind cannot hold two contradictory dominant states simultaneously. Faith in success and expectation of failure cannot coexist.
Hill's insight on formal education. The most dangerous thing about college is not what it teaches, but what it implies, that knowledge acquisition ends with a degree. The most successful people Hill studied were voracious, lifelong self-educators who never stopped acquiring relevant knowledge. The masterstroke of specialized knowledge. Become so knowledgeable in a specific area that you become indispensable. When you solve a problem no one else can, you command whatever price you choose. Scarcity of specialized competence is the foundation of extraordinary income. Hill's key insight on failure and restarting. A temporary defeat is not failure, it is a lesson in what does not work. Every plan that fails teaches you something a successful plan will use. The only true failure is stopping. As long as you continue with a revised plan, you are still winning. The quality of your plans is directly proportional to the quality of information you base them on. Bad plans are usually based on assumptions. Great plans are based on research, consultation, and tested data. Know before you go, but do not let research replace action. The final test of persistence, when the results are not visible and the end is not near. This is the moment Hill identifies as the most critical. Everyone persists when things go well. Only the exceptional persist when there is no visible reward, no confirmation, and no certainty. Hill makes a profound observation. Most people fail because they quit, Not because they lack ability, not because they lack opportunity. They quit. And they quit at the exact moment when success was about to arrive. The gap between failure and success is usually a single persistent act. Hill's attributes of leadership, drawn from studying 500 successful people: unwavering courage, self-control, a keen sense of justice, definiteness of decision, definiteness of plans, the habit of doing more than paid for, a pleasing personality, sympathy and understanding, mastery of detail, a willingness to assume full responsibility, cooperation. Hill describes a crucial technique. Just before sleep, the conscious mind relaxes and the barrier between conscious and subconscious lowers. This is the most powerful time to feed your subconscious with your definite chief aim, emotion-charged, clearly visualized, and held with certainty. The subconscious mind responds to habit more than to intention. What you think about most often, not what you think about occasionally, becomes your dominant program. This is why self-discipline in thought, not just in action, is the master discipline. Hill ends Think and Grow Rich with this: the starting point of all achievement is desire. Keep this constantly in mind. Weak desires bring weak results, just as a small amount of fire produces little heat. You are the architect of your mental life. Design it with intention, or it will be built by default. The promise of Think and Grow Rich. This is not a book about money. It is a book about the philosophy of personal achievement. The money is a byproduct. The real gift is a disciplined, purposeful, faith-driven mind that knows what it wants and refuses to stop until it has it.